What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back again with another Avengers versus X-Men fight. And this time, it's Captain America versus Gambit. And I know some of you guys might kind of be like, why would Gambit be able to go toe-to-toe with Captain America? Gambit's one of the best fighters in Marvel Comics, and it's one of the elements of his character that's constantly slept on. So one of the things to kind of keep in mind coming out of the last video that we did is, again, much like what we covered before, it was Hope Summers, the Phoenix Force, but basically it's the idea that the Avengers are afraid that this girl will gain godlike power, right? That Hope Summers will become the Phoenix, she'll lose her mind just like Jean Grey did, and then in turn, basically attack most all of humanity. Now, a little more explanation based on what we talked about yesterday. The reason why there's this biggest fear here really comes from Bishop. And the reason for that is, yes, Hope Summers is the first mutant born out of House of M, right? The first mutant born since Scarlet Witch took away everybody's powers. But what's so important about this is that the character of Bishop comes from a future where Hope Summers had initiated a conflict and wiped out like 1 million humans in virtually no time at all. That basically led to Days of Future Past, and then eventually humanity and mutants banded together in order to throw off the Sentinel program and then take Earth back. You kind of saw a loose alliance, that sort of thing, but ever since Hope Summers arrived on the scene, going from Messiah Complex into Messiah War back at the time this story was written, it was really an attempt by Bishop to basically find and kill Hope before she could become this just kind of monster that would lay waste to everything. And so that's really where the biggest root of the Avengers fear comes from, that Hope Summers will lay waste to the Earth itself and basically kill everybody. And so again, much like Iron Man, who was on the hunt for Hope during our coverage of his fight with Magneto, which if you didn't see that, make sure you click the link to the video at the end of this video and you'll see the whole thing. This has Captain America looking for Hope Summers as well, only to come across the path of Gambit. Now again, Gambit is a prodigious fighter in Marvel Comics. Is he on the same level of Captain America? Not really, kind of. He's able to hold his own here. Captain America is more adept at different styles of martial arts. Gambit is adept at things like savate, right? Like French kickboxing, things like that. But he's ridiculously capable of that kind of stuff. Whether he's better than Captain America at something like French kickboxing, I'm not entirely sure. And even you'll see over the course of this fight, Captain America blends a multitude of fighting styles to himself. But then this is going to end like quick, fast, and in a hurry, and you're going to see just how capable Captain America is. So the first thing to know is that Captain America is not really here to try to like destroy Gambit, right? That's not really the goal of any of the Avengers. They're not looking to kill the X-Men, and even if they wanted to, they probably couldn't, right? But Captain America does the first thing that you would expect, right? Like where Gambit literally just throws playing cards at Captain America, kind of his opening move and the thing that he's most well known for. It does create a series of explosions. Captain America, of course, isn't really taken out by that, but he grabs his shield and then throws it at Gambit. This is one of the coolest things, right? Because Gambit dodges out of the way, right? That's really based more on his ability with acrobatics than anything else, right? Because between his bow staff and the 2 or 3 different forms of martial arts he knows, as well as his acrobatic abilities, the guy's ridiculously capable in fighting. But he grabs Captain America's shield midair. He says, I think I've managed to snag the old man's attention. After all, I suppose you want this back. He charges up the shield of Captain America and throws it back at him, which is just one of the coolest moments that I think ever came out of Avengers versus X-Men. And the thing here is that the whole time that Captain America is in this fight with Gambit, he's talking to Iron Man. And that really goes to the nature of Captain America's fighting abilities, but not just his fighting abilities, his battle strategy. And again, while Captain America isn't really overly powerful or anything, that's really what makes him so capable. The fact that he's able to kind of do multiple things at the same time and give each of them a sort of degree of attention. But again, there's a difference between fighting Captain America while he's doing a few different things and fighting Captain America while he's focused exclusively on you. Because in the midst of this fight, he says, I'm sorry, Tony, I'm getting some interference on our comm signal. I'll wrap things up here and then we can regroup. And in the fight between himself and Gambit, of course, Gambit tries to use his bow stick, that kind of thing. And then literally like Captain America just like snaps it in half, plunges this guy against a tree. And then like Captain America asks him, how much time do we have left? So again, not fully focusing on his fight with Gambit, but still able to hold his own against this guy. Now, Gambit has this amazing response, but here's one of the things about Gambit that a lot of people don't know. He has a kind of hypnotic suggestion. There's a reason why Gambit always got the girls in Marvel Comics, and there was a reason why it was so frustrating that he couldn't get Rogue. Gambit, when it came to like any normal person out there, they like tell you to do a thing, and you would just kind of be hypnotically suggested into doing it. It's not nearly on the same level as someone like Purple Man or a telepath or something like that. It's very, very subtle, and it only works on the weakest of minds. Captain America, it won't work against him at all. It won't even begin to work, right? He won't feel it one bit, not even a little bit, right? Like, so it's really kind of a useless ability here, but it is the reason why you see him kind of taunting Captain America to a degree, and even saying things like, didn't your mama tell you it's bad manners to ignore your company? Now, the cool thing here is that Gambit goes and touches the chest of Captain America and starts to light up his suit. Now, Captain America makes this comment, which I do want to talk about here for a second. He says, come on, Gambit, we both know your powers cannot charge organics. Now, there's a reason why this comment's made by Captain America. I don't recall whether or not he actually was engaged in the initial conflict, but in Marvel, there's a character named New Sun, right? Now, here's the thing. Gambit, as you know him, is not his most powerful form. And in fact, Gambit gave up a huge, significant amount of his power, at least at the hands of Mr. Sinister, in order to gain control over his abilities, because it wasn't something that he readily had the ability to do. He could do all kinds of crazy stuff, but he couldn't really control his powers. Giving that up, going to Mr. Sinister and having Sinister kind of perform a lobotomy of sorts gave Gambit control over his abilities, but drastically reduced what he was capable of. New Sun didn't have that problem. He was Gambit from an alternate reality. This guy was so powerful that he was able to wipe out whole planets, right? He could literally just charge virtually anything, even without touching it, and blow it to pieces. Organic material, for example, was something that he could detonate and destroy. And so where Captain America makes this statement, the response of Gambit is, you're getting slow. A fish didn't make these scales, right? They're just traditional scales. Because Captain America's thought is Gambit's gonna try to blow him up, right? Like literally his skin. But by charging up his suit, it sends him flying. And then Captain America comes out of this rubble incensed because Gambit gets a little arrogant, right? He was like one living legend down for the count. And then Captain America's just standing there and he was like, cute trick, Gambit. You have my undivided attention now. And this is when you find out what happens when someone goes toe to toe with Captain America, and Captain America himself is focused exclusively on you. In the span of 4 panels, Gambit is crushed, right? He throws his cards, Captain America blocks it with the shield, charges Gambit, blocks his kick, punches him in the face, and Gambit's done. That's it. It's that fast, right? Like it's crazy. Now, whether or not this is accurate, given the mythos of Gambit, that's kind of up for debate. And in fact, this fight was one that was very, very contested by the Marvel fan base, specifically Gambit fans. They were like, there's no way he would have been taken out by Captain America that quickly. Like, that's just not going to happen. Why didn't he ignite his bow staff, right? There were a lot of different things that he could have done, or at least the fans argue he could have done. But at the end of the day, Gambit's defeated by Captain America. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end. As always, if you need to get caught up on the last video that we did, make sure you click this link to the playlist and let me know down in the comment section, who do you think should have actually won this fight? But I will catch you all later. Peace.